The Mystical Emergence podcast is for mature audiences and entertainment purposes only and should never be used over sound medical advice. In this episode, I spy the evil eye. And now, here are your hosts, Mystic and the Wizard.
Hi, everybody. Welcome back to the Mystical Emergence podcast. I'm super excited today to have Hoodoo Moses with us. We're going to be discussing the evil eye, which is a really hot topic. And yes, all of you followers on IG, I got all of your questions. I'm going to try to fit them all in here in our little 45 to an hour that we have. The evil eye is I'm actually really excited about this because I feel like the evil eye is one type of like magic that is accepted in every culture somewhere. And even if you believe in magic or you don't, I grew up, in an old school Italian environment, and, they will never, witchcraft is a big no-no. And generally throughout the ages of, Roman Catholics in Italy, Stregoria and witchcraft is a big no-no. But the evil eye, oh yeah, the Maloik, that's widely talked about and it's just accepted and believed. It's not really it generally seems to not even be like it's a belief system. Oh, I don't believe in that. It's just accepted that this is a thing. So I'm really, really excited to have Moses here to talk about this. He is probably one of my favorite people that I ask questions to on everything magical because of how much he knows. And yes, I'm buttering you up, brother, because I love you.
And that's the show.
And that's the show. That's it. So Moses, do you want to introduce yourself for people who don't know you and what you're about, where they can contact you, and how long you've been in this, all that good stuff?
For sure. And thanks for having me on. I don't even know where to begin. In terms of the evil eye, I grew up, I was being protected from the evil eye from literally the day I was born. From a Jewish Iranian family. So that's a pretty unique subset of things, and it hits the evil eye thing pretty spot on. It's a big deal to us. And growing up in that family, obviously I kind of was exposed to a lot of things like the evil eye, in terms of like folk beliefs. And like you said, though, it's like, it's not even like, do you believe in this, do you not believe in it? It's like physics. It's like gravity. Like, yeah, you're going to get the evil eye. Like, no one could debate that matter because it was stated as fact. And it's interesting, as you also said, how many cultures, you don't find a culture, with a handful of exceptions, and we can talk about those, that doesn't have some form of it. And what's really interesting is that in every single culture, it has the same name. It's
True.
The bad eye or the evil eye or the wicked eye. It's just because they don't have the exact same word, but like, it has the same name. Anyway, I'm getting way ahead of myself. I was introducing myself and I got off topic. I don't know, I'm a professional conjure man. I'm based in Denver, Colorado. I teach at Ritual Craft. I speak at a lot of these conferences and things of that nature. I've been doing this kind of stuff, I don't know, since before I had a car, that's for sure. Doing it professionally, kind of publicly professionally for a couple of years now. And really just, this has been kind of like Conjure Man for Hire type thing. I don't know if you guys ever saw that old TV show or comic book, Lone Wolf and Cub, but dude just is kind of like an assassin for hire. He walks around and whoever wants to hire him, he'll do the job. And that's kind of how I've been, and it's been an interesting learning experience with ups and downs all over the place. But bringing it to the evil eye it's by far the most common thing, the most common curse, it's the most common condition. It's this weird thing where it's really, really common. It can really, really do a lot of damage, and it's really, really easy to take off. And it's that weird combination of things that's very strange about it, versus other curses or hexes or, other things you might have to help people remove. So going more to my background, I went to college for cultural anthropology and focused my studies on magical religious folk practices. Internationally, I personally was fascinated in West African stuff, but a lot of shamanism that I did research on, and as I said, West African religion, Central West African practices and things of that nature. But also Eastern stuff. I don't know. I'm pretty broadly versed in magico-religious beliefs and practices, and I apply a lot of it in what I hope is a rigorous and systematic way in my own workings. I hope it's a good intro.
Yes, it is. If people want to contact you, where can they reach you?
Totally. So if you want to just check me out on Instagram, I'm at Hoodoo Moses, HOODOO Moses. You can also find me at hoodoomoses.com, and you can email me at hoodoomoses@gmail.com. So it's pretty easy if you can remember Hoodoo Moses, and then you know how the internet works.
Nice. So, Chardin, you being Mexican American, what are your background with the evil eye? Do you have any stories?
I have one story that I used to tell over and over when I was growing up, and when I became an adult. But when I was growing up, I used to say as an adult, well, I experienced half of my childhood because I only saw like half of it through old ladies' fingers, because I would have old ladies. My mom used to get so pissed because they'd have to touch my eyes, and being Latino, growing up in the barrio, the only light-eyed kids were my brothers and sisters, and not all of my brothers and sisters. So I had that thing where they had to always touch my eyes.
Oh, wow.
I witnessed it as an adult decades later when my sister came to visit, and I invited a coworker, and she thought he was cute. And the only way I knew she thought he was cute is because she was tapping him under the table, because I could see it, with her leg. And he thought, oh, she's coming on to me. And I thought, no, she doesn't want to give you the evil eye. She wants to touch you to be like, because she kept looking at this guy.
Yeah.
So I think it's interesting, Moses, that like you said, it's in every culture. I remember the woman saying that, I don't want to give your son the evil eye. And it was just part of the thing. But then it went out of it.
It's especially common with babies. Grandmothers will do this for babies in every culture, and in almost every culture, it will involve a red string tied around the baby in some way. And then that's the other interesting thing, is the charm, that blue and white eye, that's so broadly dispersed in cultures, it's wild. And so it's what we know from like an anthropological perspective is it took a long time for culture to spread like that. And so it's been something recent, pre-internet, right, that a culture came up with. We won't really find it in that many other cultures, maybe neighboring cultures and things like that, but we won't find it like everywhere. But what we find with the evil eye is every culture has it, and it's very, very, very old. Certainly every Mediterranean culture has an idea of the evil eye, has the same name for it, the same, symbol to protect against it. And then there's a range of other unique cultural variations, especially in Italians, with hand gestures and spitting and things of that nature.
Oh, yeah.
That are like, there's a whole book of different hand gestures to repel the evil eye and things like that.
Go on to the thing about the blue eye, because I think Mystic has that information
bracelet?
That she's given it to me. Yeah, you mentioned the blue eye, Moses. Explain that to people that maybe don't know that, like me.
I've heard it a few different ways, like the actual source of it. But, the common symbol that you'll see to repel the evil eye is like sort of a dark blue circle, and then a white inner circle, and then a lighter blue circle in that, and then a black pupil sort of circle in that. And that's an evil eye charm. And the roots of it, I've heard some things that it could have some reference to the first contact with sort of lighter complexioned peoples. And, presuming that this is Mediterranean cultures, everybody pretty much has brown eyes except for, the off mutation, but that's really like not that going to happen that much. Not enough for people to associate a whole charm around it. There's some connection with blue and white always to protection. It's been in the South, in the United States today, especially South Carolina, people still paint their porches and their front doors that light blue color. And that's said to repel ghosts and evil spirits. So there's something about that. The thing that I like the most, the theory I like the most about it, I guess, is that there does seem to be, and this is based on research by a guy named, I want to say Alan Dundas, and he's got a book out, and it's called the Evil Eye Source Book. It's a really good compilation of different essays about the evil eye, kind of a survey across cultures, and then he writes like a capstone essay, and what he goes into there is a really interesting theory. He tries to derive sort of how does the evil eye work. And he says it has something to do with moisture or wetness. It has to do with absorbing the wetness of a thing. The first references to the evil eye are that it can dry up the crops or dry up the milk in the cow. Later it came to mean other things. And when we think of who's especially vulnerable to the evil eye, like a baby or an old person, especially a baby, or sorry, it's a baby, not a baby or an old person, a baby or a pregnant mother, both of whom moisture is super important to keep them alive. So it has this idea of sucking moisture out of things. So all that's a long way around to say that charm of like watercolor blue and white becomes the purpose of that charm is to attract the evil eye. It's like a target. It's like a dummy, like what do I want to call it? Like I don't know. It's like a dummy that takes a shot for you. So it's like if there's a thirsty eye looking around, it's gonna look at that thing, and that looks like the wettest thing around, and so it'll go for that. So now, Mystic, I'm interested in seeing what your research led you to.
Oh, that's really interesting.
So you're saying that draws in. It's kind of like a sonic, not a sonic, like a beacon. That's what that other end is. It's like a beacon, like the porch. That's a beacon.
Yeah, and that's the idea of the charms in general, that they're going to sort of take it for you, or visible charms. There's an idea. Okay, so now we have to go a little bit into like the etiology of evil eye, and it's a little confusing because we can say like you have evil eye. In many cultures, what it means to say that someone has the evil eye, it means that they have the ability to project this curse on others, knowingly or unknowingly. They just do it. And it's a certain, it's like resting bitch face. Some people just have it. And in this case, it's the evil eye, and it's just a certain capacity of their eye. It's a certain way they move their head or something. And it gives them the evil eye. And some people come to learn that they have this, and instead of feeling ashamed, sort of weaponize it. And in many, many, many cultures, there are, old ladies who go around and kind of extort people, otherwise they'll throw them the evil eye, which is an interesting racket. Those people are able to throw it with intent. And so for those people, those charms that we're talking about, those publicly displayed sort of target charms, are worthless. You need to keep a hidden charm on you to absorb that one. Because if they see the public one, they'll just go around it. So that's a little bit about how evil eye works. And now there's this, we can make another cultural leap here. So it's in Persian, the evil eye is called, the cowrie shell is called eye breaker. So this leads to another level. So there's protection from the evil eye, and then there's another level of sort of evil eye countermeasure that actually, in a sense, cures the person who is afflicted with this thing that they give people the evil eye. And cowrie shell is said to be one of these. This is really, really interesting because the one sort of culture band where you actually don't find the evil eye is West Africa. And that's confusing because East Africa you find it for sure. So why in North Africa for damn sure? Why don't you find it in West Africa? It's because there's cowrie shells on everything.
Wow.
Nobody could possibly have the evil eye.
That's amazing. So this actually brings up, we actually had a lot of questions submitted about protection, of like, how can someone go about protecting themselves? And there was questions about how, like, if you're wearing a specific charm that's to protect you against it, like, does it just absorb it, or does it reflect it back to the person who's giving it to you? And then where is the best place that you would wear a protective charm or hang in your house? Like, is there a specific place it should be worn or hung?
So those are really good questions. So the idea of reflecting it back is kind of Okay, so the evil eye in general, because it's this moisture sucking thing, is that it's suction, right? So you can't really reflect suction back. If you just imagine, like, these people have eyes with, like, crazy vacuums, that are just going to suck the vibrance out of things, the moisture, the element of water out of things. Again, you look back where these beliefs really first seem to have originated. Well, actually, I should say, according to this theory, if you look at where these beliefs originated, sort of in North Africa, in sort of desert climates, they got a real good appreciation for the water. And I say according to this theory because there's a whole other theory that puts the origin of evil eye way earlier, like caveman days, Stone Age, because we have finds of, in these ancient, essentially ritual spaces, these vast ancient caves that we found. There's bear skulls with the leg bones jabbed through the eyes to prevent them from giving, well, no one knows why, right? That's how they were found. The theory is that it was to prevent them from giving the evil eye, because that dead bear head, well, one presumes they weren't skulls to start with. They were, bear heads, and then time kind of turned into bear skulls. But that creepy dead face staring at you is super creepy, and it creeps you out, and you want to disrupt that. So you stick something in it, and then you feel better about it. It's just your caveman brain, Mm-hmm. So that's another theory on the source of the evil eye. To answer the question, though, which I didn't do, but we got time, right?
Yes.
Going along this theory that your sort of publicly displayed charm is intended to attract it and take it for you, you want to wear that thing as prominently as possible. So wherever you can, not subtly. Now, I also recommend carrying a second one in your left pocket, because that's your left side, at least at that height of your body, is going to represent your sort of incoming point, where you put your left hand, which is what you receive through. And having it hidden will protect you from people who are intentionally skirting or trying to kind of get around your very publicly displayed one.
What about like in your house? Because, you go... So like Italians, they'll put chili peppers above doorways. I've been in people's house. They have like the evil eye charm. They have that above doorways. Does it tend to be like, you put it above the door, like an entry point of the house? Like I generally see it front door, not back doors. Yeah. Okay.
Well, so the idea, I have it hanging on my front door knob. Mm-hmm. Right? That's where mine sits. So it hangs off the front door now. The idea of putting it on the house is that someone would be jealous of your home. And that wouldn't, having it in your home isn't like, it's not like magical protection from some magical thing. It's a very direct physical thing. So like just having it on your home is not going to protect the people at the home. It's going to protect the home. That as a structure or as a whatever entity, egregore. So even having it, in a sense, it's great to protect yourself, but you just got to be able to know how to take it off because it's easy.
So how exactly, you were talking about the evil eye, like someone giving the eye. Is it just like, a specific look someone gives? Do they have to be in your presence? Because now everything's through social media today, right? So can someone just be giving you like the jealous eye through social media and you need to be concerned about that? Is that a whole different realm of protection now?
I don't fucking really post pictures of myself, and I'm really careful what pictures I post, as far as what work I post, what stages of work it's in. I also, people unintentionally get the evil eye, and that's most evil eye is unintentional. The intentional evil eye, way worse, but most people, it's like fucking vehicular manslaughter. Most vehicular manslaughter is unintentional. Once in a while, someone is trying to run someone over, but usually that person didn't leave the house expecting to run someone over. So Same with the evil eye. It's usually unintentional. People don't even know that they have the evil eye, that they are givers or afflicted in such a way that they cause this to other things. But they're jealous. They're thirsty. Like, we use that word in English, right? Look at this thirsty motherfucker right here. Can I say that on the podcast?
So, yeah, no, absolutely. This is great information. So, like how would it manifest in someone that's getting it, by accident or intention? And so, like, what are the symptoms that someone might see or get?
Symptoms are so broad if you just look at what people report, and it is kind of crazy. And there's no real progression, except that sometimes the symptoms will cross out of categories. So first of all, there's all luck-related symptoms. I guess it depends think of it like this. Anything you have, anything you got going for you. Again, when you look back at common slang, wherever you got some juice, someone can be thirsty for that juice and suck it dry, right? And so it can be your prosperity. It can be your health. It can be your appearance. It can be whatever, anything about you. It's something where someone wants some of that, and they happen to have this capacity to get a little bit of it. Or here's the thing: it's common in some ways to what people describe as energy vampires. I don't know anything about that. That seems weird to me. I don't know about that, but it is this sort of thing where people can. It's not like they take that ability from you. They just drain it, and then they do it to the next thing they're fucking jealous of.
Well, being in corporate America many years, I know of energy vampires that they just suck the life out of you. You're like, you walk away from talking to them, and actually not talking to them dumping, and you walk away going, God, that was, I don't know what that was about, but I don't feel good. And so I get that. So,
sure.
So it's all.
So that maybe this is something more specific then, because this is like wherever you have vitality, wherever you have, that flow of whatever, we say creative juices, right? Wherever you got it going, it's sucking that juice.
So you would know you have it because, like, all of a sudden that area of your life that you usually have easy flow is all of a sudden not flowing.
Yeah, and it's like dry. There ain't nothing to flow.
And so, how would you go by to figuring out you have, making that connection? Hey, I've got this, and then how do you get rid of it, cleanse yourself?
So, like, in my Italian side of the family, I know, like, one of the ways to test is you get a little cup of water and you put it over the person's head and you put 3 drops of olive oil in the water. If it's the 3 drops stay separate, you're good. If all of a sudden it disperses into a bunch of little dots or it coagulates into one big dot of oil, you have the evil eye. So that's how we check for it. You really kind of need someone else to help you because you're not supposed to, like, test yourself on it. But then even it's like, well, to get rid of it, you call on St. Michael, you pray in Our Father, and you cut the oil with scissors. And then it's like, boom, you don't have the evil eye. So it's like, what you were saying earlier about how it's like, yeah, it's like all these symptoms are crazy, but then it's like easy to get rid of it.
Yeah, it's really weird. It's like, I don't know what the clap is, but I feel like that's something that's easy to get rid of that's really bad. So it's like that. Or whatever, any disease that it's like, yeah, you could easily get rid of that. You don't even need antibiotics for that, It's that kind of thing. So to detect it, a lot of methods are like what you just described, right? Like there's the easiest one I do is you dip your middle finger of your left hand into olive oil, hold it over a thing of water, and then when that drops off, if it drops off as just a droplet, you're good. But if it distends at all, like if there's any sort of like a elongation of that droplet as it leaves your finger, it's you're not good. You got it. Same thing you can do with an egg, right? You pass an egg over yourself and break it and rid the egg in the water. But by the same token, you just do a cleansing with the egg. So a lot of this, and just like you said, like where you cut the oil with scissors. So you're like transferring it to this thing, this sort of oily substance, one way or another, right? Whether it's an egg or it's oil. Sometimes it's a grape. It can be an eye-shaped thing also. So an egg's also an eye-shaped thing. But this wet thing that's spherical is going to get it from you, and then you're going to destroy it, is the idea. And you think of a droplet of oil, it's actually a little sphere, removing it, you can remove it the same way. My personal go-to all the time is just get a white egg and roll it from the top of your head down across your neck, wherever you really feel it in your body. Once you get, I have a theory that it only affects certain sort of meridians from an Eastern medicine sense. I know that that's definitely true for me. I don't know if that's universally true. For me, I can feel it in the gallbladder meridian or the liver meridian. And I make sure that I extra treat that line down my body with this egg. And if you guys need references for this, you can Google gallbladder meridian chart and then go to images and then Google, and it'll show you exactly what it looks like on the body. So that's not something to be like DMing me about. But yeah, just a white egg and roll it down from the top to the bottom. Take a shower or bath before you do this, of course. You should do that before every ritual. That's what I said, of course. Roll it from top to bottom and then crack it in a glass of water. And then there are certain things to look for as far as how many strands it has and how many bubbles it has and things like that, that if you really want to analyze it, you can get into that. Or you can just flush that thing down the toilet and call it a day. Another thing that my family does is like what I first learned what you do, and is what I saw people doing at like family gatherings. You hold it in your hand with a coin, and because some methods have to do, and in a lot of cultures you'll have to identify who gave it to you also. So you hold it in your hand with a coin, an egg in your hand with your coin, and you'll recite the names of everyone you think who may have given you the evil eye, and with each one you squeeze gently, not hard, and it'll break on one of them. And that breaks the evil eye on you, and that identifies the person who gave it to you. There's a bunch of methods we see with charcoal, burning charcoal in water, saying the names of the people who you think may have given it to you on one floats, and that's the person who gave it to you. Charcoal is used in a few different cultures in a few different ways to remove it, and that's an interesting concept because it doesn't fit with the moisture paradigm at all, but charcoal is kind of used for filtration everywhere. I don't know. I think that's a curious commonality.
You know, you said about the egg, and that brought back a memory. I remember. Really? Yeah, thanks for that memory, Moses. It's great. It was locked away. But I remember, it must have been a curandera. Must have been a medicine woman or whatever, because I don't think, or maybe my mom did it, but I remember the thing with the egg, doing that ritual, at least once. I don't know what was going on. That memory is like I was really little.
You watched her do it?
Yeah, on me.
Oh, she did. Well, describe it. I want to hear.
Yeah, no, she did it. No, she did it on me, and I think we did it in the kitchen. I think I remember we were in the kitchen and did it with the egg, and I think she put it. I don't think she broke it, but I think she put it in water, and it floated at the beginning, I guess, or whatever, and then it sunk. Mm-hmm. Or the other, or vice versa, or something. But I remember whatever it did before, then it did the other thing afterwards, and then I was good. Whatever it was, and then I went out to play. But I remember
that I tell that it was cured.
Right, it was out. But what brings up another point of what if you don't? Does it go away on its own, or do you have to do some kind of?
It'll never go away on its own.
Okay.
There's 0% chance it'll go away on its own. That's the crazy thing about it. It'll stick for years and get worse and worse and just like destroy everything. And especially now that people, as you said, can get it remotely. Whew, tough. It's tough. And regular preventative maintenance is probably the best thing. I definitely don't do it enough. I'm almost certain I have some evil eye right now. I try not to even go out in public. It doesn't matter with the internet,
Yeah, I was going to ask about, I always say, it's, good to cleanse, once a week, once a month, cleanse your house, whatever. And, is the evil eye, is this something you want to be I should be consecutively cleansing? Because, again, the whole social media thing.
Unless a dozen eggs for 50 cents or whatever is out of your budget for some reason, you should be doing this. You should just be doing this. I think. I don't have the time, which is a bad excuse. Really.
So it's basically good always
to mix it.
So it's basically good to always hey, let's just think we have it. So let's just cleanse.
Yeah.
Think of it more like vitamins than like antibiotics, right? Like it's not gonna stop working if you take it too much.
Like I remember, so there's a couple things too in my Italian side. I don't feel like I've ever heard anything from the Japanese side about the evil eye, but like on the Italian side, it's like, of course with the babies, you know, but it's so like anytime someone gives a baby a compliment, you have to say God bless to them after, and that like protects. And then when they walk away, you have to spit 3 times on the floor behind their back. Or you have to make the sign of the cross. Or, yeah.
It's an interesting thing. For when people compliment a baby, there's something to do where you have to be nice to their face and then insult them behind their back.
So every culture, it's like
cultures. That? Across cultures. I don't fucking know why. Especially in Italian, but across Italy. Like Sicilian and Roman cultures are very, very, very different. Mm-hmm. But they have this in common. So there's just interesting things around that. But yeah, no one, and it gets playful in many cultures by recent generations, right? Like, so when people see a cute baby, they'll go, poi, 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 poi. Like, that's in my family, right? They go to the baby. They won't say the baby's cute. They'll just go, poi, they'll spit on it, but not really spit on it. You know? But,
thank you for that compliment. It's like,
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, thank you for that compliment. But by the way, when you're leaving my house, please trip and fall.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, you know, people will do, and that's what you see in the cultures that are used to it, Mediterranean cultures especially. It's almost like evolved to a stage where the social custom is all about not giving the evil eye. It would be like a pretty dick move to do it. So you gotta go around and like fake spit on babies instead of saying your baby's beautiful and things like that.
So like, do you have to? So like. Really, the evil eye sounds like it's, you know, a thing of like jealousy. Like, I'm jealous of this. So then, like, can you be accidentally giving the evil eye to someone if you're like jealous of something that they have or something that they're doing?
Totally. And it won't be of the same like, voracious potency as a person who like throws evil eye for extortion money. Like those people. Really, it's beyond a casual jealousy. They've turned it into an art form, like a martial art, really. Mm-hmm. But yeah, no, I mean, you can don't walk around being jealous, and don't be a hater, don't be thirsty. Those things do project energy. You know, being a hater projects destructive energy out of your eyes, and being jealous, being envious, pulls in through your eyes. And that's why, like, it's one of the 10 Commandments not to covet. Like, those are pretty serious rules. If you look at the only things they covered, like, all right, don't murder, don't steal, don't commit adultery, like, don't cause problems. You're going to cause problems among you. And then don't covet. Like, don't sweat other people's stuff. Why? Mm-hmm. Just sweating other people's stuff is kind of the basis of capitalism. We seem to be doing okay with it, I guess. But that's why. Like, because that causes the evil eye.
So if there's like, you know, varying degrees of giving it, I would think that there's varying degrees of like when you receive it of how a symptom is. Like, is it just limited to like, so, all right, if somebody who's like jealous of, something that you're doing, so then, you know, your juice starts drying up in that area. But somebody who is like a martial artist at giving the eye, like, is it like, yeah, everything in your life is falling apart? Or is it like, no, it's still just this one area? Or is there like varying degrees?
I don't have personal experience with that, thankfully. One would imagine, I mean, when you see really bad cases being lie, it's like, yo, he lost his job, then he got really sick, and his car died. Like, it's
So it's not like a laser focus. It's like a shotgun blast. I'm going to just put the evil eye on you and just take everything.
It's certainly, well, there's two things to it, too. It's like if it goes untreated, it spreads. It's like cancer in that way, you know? So it's like, it could be something you can deal with where it's like, okay, if he's jealous of your sneakers, okay, whatever. But if you don't take care of it, then it'll spread to other aspects of your life, other aspects of yourself.
Does a charm have to be gifted? You know how some people say, "Oh, you can't buy a tarot deck; it must be gifted." This one person said that they had heard.
I've seen no historical cultural evidence of that. That may be practiced in some cultures. It's certainly, I know it's a common gift. at least in cultures that do practice it. So there may be like a tacit belief around that, but there's no reason you can't just go buy a charm.
Do you have to also put any kind of self-protection, self-coating? I know I'm not getting the terminology right, but do you have to do anything?
Like to bless it?
Yeah. Do you have to bless your charm? And how would you do that?
No. And people want blessed charms from me. So what I would do is recite, and I offer them for people that want them. What I would do is pray a psalm over it. I'll give you the psalm for evil. I think it's Psalm 31, but give me 1 second here. But I would pray over it, over olive oil, and I would anoint it with that olive oil. That would be olive oil, obviously being, as we said, sort of a way to get rid of evil eye, and then also being an ideal oil for anointing. Evil eye, Psalm 31, yes. So Psalm 31 is traditionally prescribed to ward off or undo evil eye. And so I would recite that over oil. I'm not going to go through the whole ritual of making consecrated oil here, and then I would anoint it with that oil. But I can tell you that's not what's normally done. That's way excessive. I love it. I love excessive security. I love excessive spiritual security. Kind of gets me excited. 12th house Leo Mars. But I want to make it really clear. You can just go buy or just make a standard evil eye charm and it will work.
Yeah, I don't have an astrological excuse. I just like Moses praying over all of my shit. If y'all have ever seen him bless anything, it's like if I order something from Moses, I'm like, you better be blessing the shit out of that, and I want a video because it's awesome.
So you would do the psalm over the olive oil, and then you would dip the charm into the olive oil after it's blessed.
Yeah, well, I'd probably anoint it with my fingers if I'm thinking through my workflow. I'd bless the oil. We would have blessed oil for 7 days, and I'd keep it covered the whole time, and then afterwards I'd anoint the charm with the oil using my fingers, and I'd pray on it. That would just kind of be like a freestyle prayer for the person while I'm anointing it. And then I'd probably, after I put oil on it, I might coat it in cascarilla and brown mustard seed ground real fine into a powder to kind of impart additional essences. Those are two effective, like, physical essences that repel or undo the evil eye. So you can use those in baths as well as epazote, which you buy epazote for like 99 cents at the grocery store. Just make a tea out of it, mix it with bath water. One they use down south I've learned is beer. You get bath in beer.
Oh, I heard of this.
For evil eye.
So in like Sicily, like we wear, we call it the maloik, right? And we wear the chili pepper to help to repel it. So then you have like the blue evil eye charm. Is there like other charms that people can look for, like in what culture are they associated with?
Totally. In Italy, especially Roman culture, and these go back way far, like ancient Rome and then before then, there's a lot of just like really hilarious penis charms. And then there's a whole set of them of wild animals attacking penises. Which are fucking hilarious. There's a whole bunch of different hands, like the different hand gestures that repel the evil eye.
Oh, right.
They make charms of all those. It's called a fig or figa. Those are really common. Then there's the Hamsa also, which is sort of the Middle Eastern hand, which is a flat hand, sort of a symmetrical 5-fingered hand. And that often will be combined with the circular eye. It's that's a wide array of them. There's all sorts of holy names and different scriptural amulets that are said to repel the evil eye. Basically anything holy at some point, right? So like even to some point, like even wearing a crucifix is said to repel the evil eye or to capture the evil eye, to capture the idea is like if you wear like a really gaudy crucifix, then that jealous motherfucker is going to stare at your crucifix. But it can't suck all the juice out of a crucifix. That thing has its own well of spiritual resource of juice. So good luck, Mm-hmm. So that's kind of where it gets to the holy charms and things of that nature.
So if a charm, like, takes the hit for you or whatever, like, do you need to cleanse the charm or like rejuice it back up if you think it has taken a hit for you? And then like, how do you know that the charm has actually taken a hit?
So I do not know of any very, very modern method to cleanse an evil eye charm. If you really wanted to, I would wash them in episode 15, and that would be more than adequate. Or beer, I guess, but that would probably be stinky. Episode tastes pretty stinky, too. Basil or rue also would be effective against the evil eye. Generally, cascarilla and brown mustard seed, all those, mix them all together if you want, whatever. Make a tea of that, basically, and just wash it in that. It should be more than adequate to remove evil eye from anything. And evil eye can get into objects in the house, as we said, in a car. If it's in a house, you might have plumbing problems. If it's in a car, maybe a problem with your fuel line or something. It generally has to do with the fluid dynamics of the thing.
Have you ever seen, Moses, a charm get damaged?
Yeah, that's common. Like, they'll fall. Like, mine will fall off my door, and I know it took a hit for me. Some thirsty motherfucker out there. And it'll fall. When they break, they're done. Replace it. But if it falls, it's okay. Just tie it back up. But you'll see them. They'll break or go missing. That's how you know it really took a hit. Or it'll be, I know a dude who's carrying a very different charm. An Indian had sent, and he got stopped in Thailand in a very hairy situation. Had some of his property removed, but he escaped entirely unscathed with his most important property, but not with that penny. You know what I mean? So that sometimes it'll just be taken from you. It'll disappear from your life one way or another. And that's when you've lost that protection and should seek more.
So I don't know if you can expand on that. They saw this charm on him, and if you can't expand on that, I understand. They wanted it.
Hidden. It was hidden.
Oh,
it was hidden in his hat. Yeah. As I advise people to wear these types of pennies, as I keep one, and this is an old voodoo trick. It's not evil eye related at all, but it's for protection. And use these pennies as scouts, kind of be lookouts. And he was detained and thoroughly searched and deprived of some of his property, but he was able to leave with his money and his life, and that was pretty good.
That was a good day. When you ended like, oh, you can keep that stuff. It's just stuff. But hey, I'm walking out of here, so hey, it's one in the win column.
Yeah, exactly. Like, here, have my jacket, have my watch, have that weird penny. I'm out of here.
Well, thank you, Moses, for your time. It's been very enlightening, and I'm sure we're going to get you on again down the road to expand on that. But how can people find you on social media?
Yeah, Hoodoo Moses on Instagram. I think it's facebook.com/Hoodoo Moses. Also, HoodooMoses.com, HoodooMoses@gmail.com. Again, if you can remember Hoodoo Moses and you know anything on the internet, try typing it in there. Really, really good. Just Cash App, too, and Venmo, Hoodoo Moses. If you want to just type it on some things, send me that. Not PayPal, though.
Okay, awesome. Thank you so much, Moses.
Definitely. Thank you for having me on.
And so it is.
The Mystical Emergence Podcast.
The claims, information, or opinions heard on the Mystical Emergence Podcast should never be used in place of your medical provider's advice or your doctor's direction. We have some of the best doctors on the planet, and you should always consult them with all health issues you might be experiencing. Thanks for listening.